Breakfast Central. It's no longer news that Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State has officially defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. This isn't just a solo move, as his defection reportedly includes his entire cabinet, 17 local government chairpersons, and a staggering 80% of PDP executives in Enugu State. The APC now controls 3 states in the southeast, namely Imo, Ebonyi, and Enugu.
Well, Governor Mbah's defection has raised urgent questions as to whether or not his move is strategic realignment and what it means for the PDP's grip on the southeast and the APC's ambitions in 2027. Well, to unpack this discussion, we have 3 heavyweight voices from the 3 major political parties. You could call them the opposition as well, and not forgetting to the main current APC as well. So we have the APC, we have the PDP, and then we have the ADC. I'm going to start off first with the one in the studio. We have joining us is the chairman of the ADC Lagos State chapter. We have Mr. George Ashiru in the studio. He's here with us. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
It's my pleasure always.
All right. We also have Mr. Alphonsus Ogar Eba, member of the People's Democratic Party, is also here too. But Mr. Alphonsus is the APC chairman in Nigeria. He's the National Secretary Forum of the APC chairman in Nigeria. Mr. Alphonsus Ogar joins us as well. Good morning to you, Mr. Alphonsus.
Good morning.
All right, great. We're hoping that the network would allow us to get your input well. And also joining us, we have the People's Democratic Party, Mazi Dickson Iroegbu. He's here with us as well, joining us via video conferencing. Thank you so much for being here as well.
Good morning, and it's my pleasure to be here.
All right, so those are the 3 guests that will be joining us in this conversation. We're going to start off first with the big one. Although many said they saw it coming, it's got to do with the Enugu State governor who has officially defected from the PDP to the APC. And I think the first person that would actually speak on this and drop his comment would be Mazi Dickson Iroegbu, who is a PDP member. What do you make of the defection? Is it something that you think will actually put a break on the walls of the PDP in the southeast, or you think it's a no-brainer, it's not going to actually disturb the party?
For this opportunity this morning, and to your question about the shameful defection of the current governor of Enugu State. First, I will speak as a party man, and then also as a Southeastern, as an Igbo man. As a party man, for us, yes, losing any member, not just whether you're governor or senator or House of Rep member, is not what we would be excited about naturally, especially that this is someone who rode on the back of our party to get to where he is today, and eventually decided to betray the party. For me, as a party man, has it any effect on our party? Well, of course, if it wasn't going to have any effect, we wouldn't be discussing it this morning. But about the future of the party, the PDP is strong. The PDP is realigning and repositioning itself to first have the convention, our forthcoming convention in Ibadan on the 15th to 16th in November. That is our primary focus at the moment. Immediately that is concluded, we would have the new NWC that will now steer the ship of the party to the movement towards 2027. But about these governors who have so far defected, it's shameful, really, because I listened a bit to the Enugu governor, where he said he admires the current president and that immediately he removed subsidy, that he started admiring him, fell in love with him and all of that. But they forget also how that this president built his own CV politically when the PDP was in power, and certain groups from the Northwest and all of that, Southwest, I mean, defected and all that. He stayed and built his own arsenal, with which he now, in collusion with the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, and all of that, and they formed what is now known today as the APC. So it just shows that they are copying the wrong things. These are just breakfast is ready politicians. They are not grounded. They are not available to build up both themselves and also their followers. So the reasons are just, permit my usage of the word, very shameful, really. It's not anything that anybody should take seriously. All right. And if he thinks he's popular, by the time 2027 comes, these defectors will, by his grace, by the time the party has put itself back on track, the Nigerian people will speak, because that's our focus. Just like the People's Democratic Party, our party is by the people, is for the people, not by the governors, not by the senators or House of Rep members. So, yes, it is not exciting to us, but will it derail our drive towards reclaiming the villa in 2027? No, it will not.
All right, Mazi
we just have seen that there are those who should not be taken seriously politically within our space. All
right, Mazi Dickson, thank you very much for your submission. Let me come back into the studio and bring Mr. Ashiru into the conversation. And now we want to look at the mass defections. Enugu State Governor has defected. Earlier today on the show, we played a video of Edo State Governor giving a mandate to members of his ex-school regarding the Ashiwaju Cap. Let's take a look at the video and I'll come back to get the reaction of Mr. George Ashiru.
Traditional dress, and you are coming to the school without this Ashiwaju Cap. You are doing Ashiwaju, no entry. No Ashiwaju, no entry. Let me recognize the press. Let me welcome you to the.
And I thought it was important for us to play that video because while we speak about mass defections, we're seeing all the movements going to the All Progressives Congress. Is this a cause for concern if it has gotten to the point that the governor says to his school, no Ashiwaju Cap, no entry? Let's get your reaction, Mr. Ashiru.
Well, ADC has benefited from a lot of coalition partners and defections too. You know, a lot from the PDP and from the other constituent groups of the APC, especially in the north. So, and one thing is very important, any empire, no matter how big it is, at some point it's going to crumble. And it will crumble from within. Unfortunately, that is what has happened to the PDP. The PDP was a large empire, came into Nigeria as part of the Third Republic, and then, unfortunately, lack of the right type of leadership and the right kind of ideological foundation imploded from within, and APC took advantage of it. And now APC is doing the same thing the PDP was doing. It's also trying to build itself into an empire, not built on the people's foundation, but built on power and ambition and personality cults, and follow the leader, but not the people. And it's also going to implode from within in the same exact way history has shown us. So we're not worried about people trying to climb into a ladder that other people built to see what they can get out of it or to protect themselves. We are more worried about whether or not the people can see it for what it is, which is opportunism. And so that the voters will go out and say, we will rebel against you, even though you are a governor. We will rebel against you, even though you are a senator. Because you are not thinking first and foremost about the interests of the people who voted you in the first place. You are thinking of your political calculations and your personal ambitions, or protecting whatever it is that you think you have established in that short period of time by simply going to where you feel you might get protected. The world has to think about a person like Donald Trump, who worked against, who took over his own party and said, this is not the way this thing, or the American people want things to be. And the American people backed him up. So he went solo. And now he's become president twice, something that hasn't happened, in the space of with one democratic president in between. So it tells us that we are at the point now where populism is popular. People are no longer following individuals or try to be part of the powers that be. People are doing what is right for the people. And I think any politician who simply defects because it will protect my political interest, that kind of politician will meet a new kind of electorate that have a bit more wisdom about their choices and their opportunities. Because look around the indices for which Nigerians are judging themselves. We say we have liberalization of the first sector of this country. You and I can't even get this fuel in this country. These are simple indices that affect the average person. That's the kind of thing a governor should be focusing on. How do I ensure that the people, my people, are not suffering from the effects of liberalization? But the same governor comes and says, oh, I like the fact that fuel was. How about the impact of the people of Enugu? Have you thought about the kind of answer you are going to give to them for the suffering they are going to experience from a policy that was not well planned? The idea of the policy is not the problem. It was not well implemented. And the impact of it is what we're seeing even 2 years later now, the whole industry. So we constantly say that any kind of government that does not take into account the good impact of policies for the people, then that person or the personality or whoever it is that's decamping is doing it for themselves.
Is it any different from what the politicians who have decamped to the ADC are doing?
Because if you look at all the people decamping, they are not governors in power. They were not elected. These were individual citizens that were in their parties. Maybe they were former, whatever it is. They are individuals who are not responsible anymore for the votes of those who put them there.
Not elected officials.
They are no longer elected officials. They are private citizens. They've come to say, okay, you know what, let us come together and rebuild something that reflects more of what Nigeria, stands for. Then others will look at it and say, at least they cannot say they're coming to ADC because we are the governor or we are the president. They're coming to ADC because of a philosophy. But if we had power and they were coming to us, then we would say, okay, we know why you are coming to us. You want to come and take part of the Commonwealth, share the national cake, collect your own palliatives. But we are not in power. So when you come to us, you are coming to us because of what we stand for, our philosophy, our ideology, our principles, and so on and so forth. And I think I keep saying it. Let's forget about politics sometimes just for a little while and think of the Nigerian people.
Thank you, Mr. Ashiru. I'd like to bring in Mr. Alphonsus Eba into the conversation. He's the only APC man on the panel, and I see you smiling. Now, I'd like to start off from what Mr. Ashiru in the studio said about implosion. And this is very recent history in our political journey in Nigeria. The People's Democratic Party, they took on so many people. They boasted that they were going to be in power for 100 years, and we see what happened. It took on so many people, and the ship imploded, to put it that way. My question is, what is so attractive about the ruling All Progressive Congress that all these governors seem to be going there in spite of the damning statistics, insecurity? The World Bank report just said over 120 plus million Nigerians are living below the poverty line. But you still see politicians, trying to get even the ones that are not defected. For example, the governor of Osun State is a member of the People's Democratic Party. He's already endorsed Mr. President ahead of 2027. So are these defections because of the policies of the APC government? Is it because of the love of the country? Or are they doing this for pecuniary reasons? Is it self-serving?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Go ahead, please.
Again, I say good morning to you.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Because I am relishing in the euphoria of the increment and growth in the membership of our party. By not just any other person, the man who must say the Bible in the book of Matthew 16, verses 18, spoke about. I am so happy. And let me again say congratulations to Governor Peter Mbah for joining the progressives, because he himself has been a progressive all along in the wrong place. And why did I take that episcopal point? The Bible in the book of Matthew 16:18 clearly said, Peter, rock, shall I build my congregation and my church. Peter Mbah has joined us for us to continue with the mission of our evangelism, and we are happy to have him. I sympathize with my dear brother of the PDP extraction. The word shameless should not be used. It is strategic reasons. And permit me to take you on a historical and ideological documentary of what the southeastern region used to mean. As far back before the amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914, in 1907, apart from Lagos, that was a colony, the entire southern Nigeria had its administrative headquarters in Enugu. If you remember the partnership between the NCNC, and the Action Group that brought about the United Progressive Grand Alliance during the independence era. If you go back to 1979, the NPP Alliance and the NPN, it has always shown that the southeastern region has always been in one block. In the last few years, it became an anomaly to have political parties driving the politics of the southeastern, where you have the Labour Party, you have the ABGA, you have the APC, and you have the PDP. What Mbah has done that is historic and he must be commended for being visionary is that he has joined his fellow brothers, Governor Hopus Odima and Francis Nwifuru. And I am happy that before December, another governor from the Southeast will join us. It means the Southeast have realized that they are coming together to socket to the center. And when you socket to the center, you provide the proper plug, which will bring an illumination. This becomes the easiest road for a Nigerian of a southeastern extraction to get to Aso Rock. I am a believer in equity and justice, and I strongly believe that when power gets back to the northern part in 2031, we should be able to have a vice presidential candidate in the southeast. And 8 years after, somebody from the southeast should become a president. This is the mirror, this is the road that is clearer than whatever anybody can say. Back to the issue of my brother in ADC. You know, I had spoken about the ADC, that any coalition or a concatenation that cannot agglutinate is tantamount to a political dysentery that can only be administered with a kind of medication that we used to call alagbin, Fensic, and there is one called APC. We are the cure to APC. We will not implode. I know that the ADC is in a state of higgledy-piggledy. And so at this point, there is nothing they can say that will be palatable to the euphoria that we're relishing. That dumps prophecy. We have not boasted that we will rule for 60 years like the PDP did. Pride goes before a fall. What is attracting Nigeria today is the performance of Mr. President. And like I love what Governor Peter Mbah said yesterday, that the removal of the subsidy, the unification of the exchange rate, and he was speaking from a business point of view.
All right, Mr.
So this has changed the narrative for Nigeria.
Mr. Eba, we'll come back to talk more about this. I can see that you also have some pharmaceutical qualifications in addition to your political background. So we'll come to expand further. We need to go on a very quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at Nigeria's political scene, especially as we're counting down to 2027 while being in 2025. We have three gentlemen joining us for this conversation. In the studio, we have Mr. George Ashiru, who is the ADC chairman in Lagos State. Thank you for staying tuned. And we also have joining us virtually Mr. Alphonsus Ogar Eba, who is the APC chairman in Nigeria and also the Cross River State and National Secretary Forum of APC chairman in Nigeria. We also have Mazi Dickson Iroegbu, who's the chairman who's a member of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I want to come to Mr. Eba and dig in a little further. When a number of these politicians say that they're leaving their political party to the APC, one of the reasons that they give is that they want to be aligned to the center. We see that Governor Peter Mbah had said it was a political decision by the state and that they all want to be sort of in unison. The governor of Delta State, Governor Sheriff Ebonyi, said he wanted to be connected to the center. Governor Imoeno said he wanted to be connected to the center. So are we saying that for you to get things done in your state, if you're not connected to the APC, then it's a no-show?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, please. Do not forget the ordinary balance. Nyanga they sleep, trouble come wake her up. Nyanga they sleep, trouble come wake her up. 6 months into the administration of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you realize that we just within 6 months of the administration of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so political spent forces came together and said they were going to overthrow, whether through democratic or undemocratic means, the president and commander-in-chief that had barely settled to govern for 4 years. And then, rightly guided thinking Nigerians who are governors and who understand where we were and saw where we're going to, quickly said, no, we will not allow any kind of coalition to lobotomize a performing president, a performing political party that have come to take us from the phantasmagorical economic direction we were going. And now we have a focus that we can get to the pot of splendor. So what they decided to do, because they understand that they were in a ship that was sinking and they have no life jackets, it was safer for them to join in the ship that can take them to the pot of splendor. So the coming of Governor Reef, the coming of Governor Pastor Umoeno, the coming of Governor Peter Mbah, and in the next few days, by the grace of God, because don't forget, I'm a political evangelist. Only 2 weeks ago in Jos, I met with the governor of Taraba State, Governor Kefas, and I told him while we're discussing about Bayelsa, I said, sir, you are closer to me. I will want you to come. And do not forget, it is by the power of God. It is not by our power. We have been praying that now that we have a thinker and a doer as a president of Nigeria, by the special grace of God, Nigerians should see that there will be light at the end of the tunnel, even though he has carried out a very major economic surgery that is costing a lot of pains. But this will be attenuated with time. And people are saying, it is what they are joining. It is not self-serving. It is because some people have come to say, and do not forget the Bible in the book of Isaiah 54:15 says they will surely gather, but because this gathering is not of God, they will surely scatter. It is the direction we are going. And the book.
Okay, Mr. Eba, if you are there, I think we've gotten your point. Let's move quickly to the to our guest from the PDP, Mazi. Mazi Dickson, I'm sure you've heard everything the APC rep has said, especially talking about the PDP, saying you shouldn't call it what you did call it, the move of the Enugu state governor. And then he's highlighted why everyone is plugging to the center, although I stand to be corrected. I was finding it really hard to understand what he meant. It's a bit difficult, maybe because of the network, or maybe because of the
evangelical language
being used. So, Mr. Eba,
evangelical pharmaceutical language.
Yeah, so Mr. Eba, maybe when we come back to you, you will help us break it down so that a Musiliu, a Chinedu, Ubong, who is, they can understand why people are moving to the
So you can carry everyone along.
Yes, carry everyone along, please. We beg. Okay, make it easier, please. I think that's what broadcast is all about. Make it easier for people to understand. But let me come to the PDP, Mazi Dickson. You heard said, what's your reaction to that?
Well, everything he said is confusing to himself. Yeah, like he said already, he admitted that he's basking in the euphoria of their so-called shameless defectors to their reigning party. Because let me speak from the point of PDP. First, the attempt to demonize and say, oh, we had pride. There was no pride. We gave ourselves a target that between the time that we came into power in 1999, that if the PDP continues steadily in the direction it ought to be going, that this nation would have indeed become what it ought to be, the giant of Africa, and indeed the most populous black nation that is prosperous. That was the vision of the party, that for 60 years, continuous application of the policies of the party, that this country will become what it should be. That was the vision. And then, of course, we built on that. If you look at the trajectory of the journey of PDP, institutionally and all of that about governance, the party did set up a lot that would help this country grow to where it should get to. And of course, if you remember, before the APC came to power, PDP had governed this country in a manner that every Nigerian was beginning to believe in our journey towards nationhood. There was no intentional balkanization and divisive approach as the APC adopted. We didn't have that. The economy of our country was the #1 growing economy in the continent of Africa, #5 growing economy in the whole world. That was where we were before APC came. Remember also that before the PDP left, our economy was about $555 billion worth. But today it's in ruins. Everything we built, this party came and ruined everything. Now they are going further now to push to the level where they want to reduce the nation to a one-party state. And that is the danger here in all of these so-called acclaimed defections and all of that my brother from the APC is trying to highlight. There's no reason whatsoever. As a Southeasterner, for instance, we know where we were. Before APC came to power in 2015, Southeastern Nigeria was the most peaceful zone in Nigeria. The most peaceful zone in Nigeria. Today, the Southeastern Nigeria is a shadow of itself. Today, earlier, I watched your show earlier when you had someone, a guest, talking about the issue of Mazi Dickson Iroegbu and all of that. If indeed these so-called politicians from Southeastern Nigeria, the governors so-called who are defected and all of that, had anything about the interest of the people at heart, you would ask yourself, of what use is it that you're joining this APC? What are the Igbos, the Southeasterners, going to gain? What have they gained thus far from the APC? Nothing but ruins. Nothing but everything about, more like reducing the Easterners, as Buhari referred to, dot in a cycle. So it is selfish and personal interest that is all that they are going, into the APC for. These are cowards, as far as I'm concerned, because a lot of them have skeletons in their cupboard. And so when they are coerced, when they are presented with their files and all of that, of course, you know what the former national chairman of the APC said about joining APC. If you are a criminal, once you join APC, your image will be laundered. Haven't we seen our president, the commander-in-chief, giving amnesty, pardon to criminals, confirmed, drug lords, confirmed kidnappers and all of that, have been granted pardon? That's what APC is about. So those who are joining there are only joining so that whatever negative image they have can possibly be shielded from facing the law. But let me bring in response to what the ADC, my brother in the studio, stated. You see, whether we appreciate the situation that we are in now or not, there is a need for the opposition parties to put the interests of the Nigerian people first forward, like you rightly said. Let's put the interests of the Nigerian people forward and come together to save ourselves from these ruiners, because we don't have Democrats today in power. What we have are plutocrats, those who have money and grabbing every space where possible. So there's a need for people to realize that the PDP remains that wonderful umbrella that can accommodate all of us. The so-called coalition that adopted ADC as the political party that they are going to run from and all of that, you ask yourself, is that how we're going to do it? Individuals cannot form coalition. It is political parties that can get together to form coalition. And today in Nigeria, the only party that can lead that coalition alongside other opposition parties is the People's Democratic Party. So that we, on behalf of the Nigerian people, can help engage the system and indeed demand for the welfare and security of the Nigerian people, which is the primary purpose of governance.
Okay.
These people have no such plan whatsoever. It is all about grabbing from the system while the Nigerian people, are going through the terrible state we find ourselves. They keep referring to the removal of subsidy and all of that. Okay, you haven't removed it. What have we achieved? There is acute hunger in the land. There is escalating insecurity in the land. Kidnapping has become a major booming business in our country under the watch of APC. And they keep telling us a cock and bull story about how they are doing well. The thing about APC is that everything it has touched about Nigeria is in ruins.
Okay,
Mazi, security, economy, everything is in ruins. The unity of our country is in ruins. It's all divide and rule.
All right, Mazi Iroegbu.
There's nothing positive to gain from these people.
Mazi,
and
thank you for your point. There are a few questions we want to touch on, especially now that we're having this discussion. But before then, let's quickly bring to our viewers a breaking story. Well, the breaking story simply is that former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Odinga, has died, and he died at the age of 80. Now, don't forget, too, that we must tell you very quickly that Odinga suffered a cardiac failure during his morning walk. The Nairobi-based Star newspaper and other Kenyan media outlets reported that he passed away in India after suffering a heart attack. Odinga was the son of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who served as Kenya's first vice president in Jomo Kenyatta's administration. Considered political royalty in the East African nation, he was widely popular among his supporters who heeded his calls en masse to demonstrate when he complained about vote rigging. The electoral disputes repeatedly triggered ethnic tensions and violence, most notably in 2008, if you recall, when more than 1,100 people died and about 350,000 were forced to flee their homes. That's the breaking story. Sad news. Former Kenyan Prime Minister dies at the age of 80.
Raila Odinga indeed was, a very dogged person. Very dogged. You would see that he contested for elections about 5 times. Each time he would contest the results of the elections. We saw his performance at the last elections. Many found it very surprising that William Ruto overtook him. But of course, he comes from a dynasty of strong politicians, which is why many had assumed that would have reflected at the polls the last Kenya elections. But our condolences to the Kenyan people and to the family of Raila Odinga. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Really sad breaking news there. But let's go into the conversation here and look at our elections. We're counting down to 2027. We're in 2025. And it feels like the body language feels, we say this as a joke here, but it's the truth. It feels like we're in 2025. There's no 2026. Next year is 2027. With all the politicking that is happening, how is the ADC positioning itself to be prepared for 2027? There's angle of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's role in the ADC, the speculations about His Excellency Peter Obi and whether or not he's a member of the ADC, even though we see him outrightly supporting the ADC. So what's the latest in that regard?
And there's also the PDP people saying that, you are a coalition of strange bedfellows and they are the best vehicle to champion this coalition. So you're fighting multiple battles.
So we are quite happy to have all of these thoughts and fights coming at us because we have the singular advantage of not having any history of misgovernance. We don't have any history of stealing Nigerian money. We don't have anybody in EFCC custody or having EFCC case in our party. We don't have any history of bad governance or bad policies that has affected Nigerian people. That is the reason we were adopted as a party that has survived 19 years. had not won the presidency, had not been deregistered. Basically building because it had a vision that one day it will be the party that extends this handshake across the nation. And then all of a sudden, everybody opens their eyes, and all of the big political heavyweights of the last election choose one party. That should send a message to people. Who won Lagos State in the presidential election last election? Peter Obi won. And that just tells you what is happening in Lagos. But you see, when the governor of Enugu State, or any of the 3 eastern states, are running to the person whose representative in Lagos destroying the economies in Lagos, that tells you that they are not running to the center. They are running away from judgment. And that's very important to notice. We are here defending the interests of the people from the southeast, whose shops and businesses are being destroyed on a regular basis, as we can see in Trade Fair and Amu and all the other places. But their governors are not fighting for them. They are running to the same person whose minions are here destroying their businesses. See, we can say anything we like politically and use beautiful language and Shakespearean words to kind of hide the truth. The truth is the average Nigerian person, you just mentioned the statistics, 120 million Nigerians and possibly more are living below poverty line. And just like Mazi Dickson said, Nigeria's GDP is about half what it was 11, 12 years ago. So we're nowhere near the so-called $1 trillion economy. So whatever decisions people are making is not based on the statistics on the ground. It's based on their pecuniary interests. As simple as that. Black and white. Now, ADC became attractive because they have used these platforms before. And the Nigerian people are saying, no, we don't want again. We are not going back. That's what Kamala said. So people are not going back because they feel, look, we've given you opportunity. What did you do with it? I was a president of the National Sports Federation in the period of the presidency of Goodluck Jonathan. So basically, I was working for ministers. And so I could tell you what was wrong with that government. So when I speak as somebody who has been in the opportunity to be close to decision makers.
To be close to the center.
To be close to the decision makers. And what I can say from the vantage point of somebody who was elected into that position without being a member of a party, just purely by virtue of my own personal merit, I can tell you why people don't want to go back to that experience. But what they thought was coming together, which my brother from Mr. Eba, he says, the gathering of people that God did not permit. No, it's Nigerians gathering together. We thought that Nigerians coming together to form APC will now help Nigerians get away from the misrule of the previous administrations. But what has happened to our GDP is gone down over the years. Income per capita gone down over the years.
And
more
these
people
are verifiable facts.
These are verifiable facts. You don't whitewash it. You don't clean. A cracked wall that you put plaster doesn't mean it will not collapse. So we're speaking about those facts. Now, what we have learned from that in ADC is to say, let's lay a good, clean, strong foundation. And that foundation was what made strange bedfellows that you call say, maybe, actually, this is the organ. Now, why didn't they form what would have been a merger? Why weren't they pushing? Because they realized that they're going to take faulty parts to try and make a wholesome whole. And that would have been difficult. So you don't take PDP with the history of people saying, I know what I suffered under PDP. Then you take a bit of this, a bit of that, and then you try to form a coalition. That will still come with its own challenges.
But you're taking the individuals.
So, but why did CPC and ACN work? Because ACN does not have to take the blame for the failures of federal government. CPC doesn't have to take blame for the failures of the federal government. So they could come together in the hope that they will rescue the whole of Nigeria. But that in itself was people coming to the center. But what has happened to that center? That center now has been taken over by an empire. And so what I think we are trying to do in ADC is to say, we don't want those two extremes. And I quite like the fact that Mazi Dickson said, let us come together. We agree. But I think it's better to come together with a neutral organ like ADC that does not have any history to worry about. Let the people that had the best votes in the last election coming together under the same party, whether you like it or not.
In other
That
words,
is the
very
best
much
choice.
extended an olive branch to Mazi to join the APC.
Oh, yes, definitely. His brethren are already with us, so come and join us.
Just before we wrap up, I'd like to bring in Mr. Eba, our political evangelist. Please, if you can, in less than a minute, would appreciate. Now, Mr. Eba, as we wrap up, as the APC, or does the APC risk becoming a sanctuary for political survivalists and all sorts of people with dodgy records, going by the recent pardon list of the president exercising his prerogative of mercy, rather than a party of principle? A member of the APC, a very strong member of the APC, once said, you know, if you defect to the APC, they will use deodorant for your crimes. And if you were a member of the other party, they will use insecticide. So how do you respond to this?
You know, I had the privilege of studying English language for 3 years. And there is a figure of speech called similar metaphor. Metaphorical statements should not be interpreted literally. They are done sometimes. The idea of saying when you join the APCs, your sins are forgiven is because you come to be on equal footing with anybody that has been there from day one. That has been long explained by Governor Adams Oshomole. I do not say more about that. But for the record, let me say this. The coming together of Nigerians to support President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is on a very clear path. Today, if you juxtapose that with what the ADC or ADC's coalition is all about, you will understand that even from the foundation of how ADC took off to say they want to fight our government, it was a criminal hijack of an existing political party. Is it a hook that makes the monk or the monk that makes the hood? You're talking about politicians without baggage. I mean, talking about a political party without a baggage. Yes, those that have been there, like Ibe Kachiku, Nafiu Bala, and the rest, who are legitimate owners of these political parties, may not have had issues. But in this case, you have retired persons from the PDP and other political parties that are now coming as individuals to say they want to form ADC. There is a question mark about that. But since that matter is in court, I dare not say, because I have clear understanding about how political party administration is being run. And if the former chairman of ADC says he's no longer chairman, and the deputy chairman is laying claim to that, the only interpretation the court can give to is the fact that that man, Bala Nafiu, is going to be the chairman and not David Mark. So I do not see ADC as a political party to begin with. For the PDP, like I have said, their next meeting for tomorrow also has just been cancelled. I don't know what will happen to their convention, but I don't know what ship they want to steer. Is it to steer a ship that you have an empty passenger in? And so I use this opportunity to say, I am on evangelism. Please, if you are in any political party, President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is the captain of the ship that is taking us to the port of splendor. Come and join us so that you can land safely. All right. It is not about making Nigeria a one-party state. No. It is because those that have gathered in the book of Isaiah 15:14, as I have said, 54:15, God has not approved of their gathering. All right. And follow the Joshua of our time.
Evangelist Alphonsus, we have to go on a break now.
We have to.
Thank you very much, Evangelist.
You forgot to add the political before the evangelist.
Okay.
Political
evangelist and
Alphonsus
pharmaceutical expert. Thank you so much, Mr. Alphonsus Eba, for joining us this morning. Mazi Dickson Iroegbu, thank you for joining us. Mr. George Ashiru, thank you for joining us, gentlemen.
We'd like to continue this conversation maybe some other time.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right.